Bruce Thornton, first player that we will talk about on this roster breakdown. Obviously, point guard, sophomore, entering his second season at Ohio State. Thornton last year averaged 31 minutes per game, got a bunch of playing time. He averaged 10.6 points per game, 2.6 assists per game, 45.6% from the field, and 37.5% from deep. Now, some caveats here in terms of his numbers. If you remember, maybe you're new to Ohio State basketball, and if you are, welcome. But if you're not, you'll remember what happened with Bruce Thornton last year. He started off the season, it was fine, it was nothing special, and then he started to come on a little bit before he hit that freshman wall. And even a guy like Bruce Thornton, dense as he may be, well-built as he may be, all of us in life, we run into walls sometimes that we just can't break down. And it took Bruce Thornton a while to get there. But to close the year, Thornton was very, very good. He averaged 17.1 points per game in his final 8. He scored double digits in 10 of his final 13 games, including an outburst, a hissy fit of sorts, against Michigan, where he poured in 22 points. Now, that freshman wall that I mentioned, it was tough. And it was for nearly one calendar month. It happened from January 1st to February 2nd. Went back and looked at the numbers, so you didn't have to. I did maybe have a little bit of a baby arf as I went through the numbers. He shot below 30% from the field in every game during that calendar month, except for 2. So if you're holding back your own reaction right now, props to you on that. That's very, very bad for those of you scoring at home. It's not good. That's not news. You know that, but this is what happened. From January 1st, February 2nd, shot below 30% from the field in every game but 2. However, maybe I should have started with the freshman wall first and then went to how well he played to close the year. We know he closed the year and he played really, really well. He played at an all Big Ten caliber level. And as Ohio State's point guard, he's been strong. So he took care of the ball. He's got an elite assist ratio, assist to turnover ratio. He's got an elite assist percentage, turnover percentage, all of those types of things. His assist to turnover ratio, it was elite, 99th percentile last season. In his final 5 games, it was at 3.6, and for the entire season, it sat at 2.0. All of those numbers, very, very good. And his shooting, incredibly efficient from the field. It didn't really matter where Bruce Thornton shot the ball from. It was very, very good. His shot charts are off the charts. Can they be off the charts? If it is a chart, that's for you to determine. You can find this on cbbanalytics.com, of course, should you take a subscription. Use the code SHOT to get your first month free. But field goal attempts per game, field goal percentage, 2-pointer attempts per game, 2-point field goal percentage, 3-pointers per game, 3-point percentage, all of those elite marks, especially to close the year. His field goal percentage sat at 46.4% in the final 5 games. And his free throw numbers as well. He got to the line a bunch. That free throw percentage, though, it wasn't the best. But from the field, as a 2-point shooter, as a 3-point shooter, all of those things, Bruce Thornton was very good. He does need to improve from the free throw line, though. Let me flip my page again to see what he shot last year. He was at 72.9% on the season. That is below average. And in his final 5 games, he shot 58.8% from the field. Not good, especially for a guy who gets to the free throw line. So he needs to improve from the free throw line. Other areas of improvement for him, he didn't get to the free throw line all that much. And now you get into the conversation of, well, as I think to myself here, if Bruce Thornton isn't already good from the free throw line, should we ask him to improve and get to the line even more? I don't know. That's why I'm not a part of the coaching staff at Ohio State. But regardless, you would like to see him become a better free throw shooter and get a couple more free shots in every game. 23% free throw rate, that's very, very low. Other place for him to improve in the upcoming season, you'd like to see him take a step up defensively. Now, when it comes to defensive rebounds, he did pretty well, especially given his size. But outside of that, he didn't really make much of an impact when it comes to the counting numbers, the counting stats. So, steal percentage, 1.7%. Block percentage, 0.5%. Hakeem percentage, that adds up to 2.2%. None of those really all that great, but he did do a good job of staying out of foul trouble. So you'll take that. But the steals, the blocks, all of those types of numbers, you'd like to see a little bit more from Bruce Thornton. So we'll see if he can sit down and defend a little bit more in the upcoming season. We'll also see if he can sustain an entire season of scoring a bunch. But in terms of expectations for Bruce Thornton this year, you should be relatively excited for him. This is a type of player who I think if you're a pretty big college basketball fan and it's a Thursday night and you see Ohio State is playing Nebraska and you turn it on to FS1 because, well, there's not much else to do on a cold January night, I can appreciate that. If you live in Oklahoma and you're a huge Oklahoma State fan or whatever. You may see B. Thornton run across the ticker several times this year and lead the team in scoring, and you may be aware of Bruce Thornton, but you can't pick him out of a lineup of 10 people. That's fine. Bruce Thornton is going to be the type of player this year who I think is certainly, at the end of the year, he's going to have some Big Ten accolades, and he may not get that national attention, but he's going to be very, very important for Ohio State this season. He may have to shoulder the load for scoring this year for the Buckeyes, and overall, he's a complete player. He can score from pretty much anywhere on the court, free throw line, to be determined. He can distribute the ball. He takes care of the ball really well. He can sit down and play a little bit of defense. You'd like to see him improve in that. Even for his size, he's not a horrible rebounder. Overall, this is the type of player who you want on your team and who's going to have a huge impact on Ohio State this season. He just may not get the coverage, the love that some other players may at the more elite programs. But Bruce Thornton is a guy you should not underrate. You should be very excited, and he could be Ohio State's most valuable player by the end of the year. Howdy. My name is Tim Miller. I'm the host of the Views from the Shop podcast, as you may know. I want to thank you for watching this episode, which is a part of a pretty grand project that we're working on, the season preview series. Much more content coming out, not on a daily basis, but multiple times a week as we get ready for the college basketball season, specifically for Ohio State. So if you haven't already, I want to remind you, please subscribe here on YouTube, and please find us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, those Google things, or iHeartRadio, wherever you go to get your podcasts, doesn't matter to me, just find us there. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram so you don't miss any content. Our goal is to be your number one source for Ohio State basketball exclusive content. So make sure you find us wherever you get your sports content. Appreciate you watching today, and hopefully we'll see you soon.